I'm delighted that Coventry University has been awarded this grant so we can undertake some fantastic research to try and improve access to transport for disabled people.
The work that we're going to undertake at the centre is really important because research has shown us that disabled people take 38% fewer journeys, and they do this for a number of reasons.
A physical model definitely allows you to interact with anybody of any physical needs. It gives you something tangible to actually see, feel, touch and interact with.
So the driving simulator allows us to explore scenarios that actually are not existing yet. So for instance, I'm thinking about automated driving. It also allows us to test scenarios where all kind of users could test this technology. It could be very interesting, for instance, for disabled people, because automated vehicle could be a new way, a new mean of mobility for them that's not existing yet, but we need to understand how this could be used and how could these people use this mobility of the future.
This is an exciting initiative that will be led by disabled people. They will guide our research and will also co-create solutions that we will implement.
The work that we'll be doing here will improve access to transport, enabling disabled people to have better access to healthcare, to education, to employment, to be able to have a social life and all other areas of life. We're really looking forward to undertaking this work.
Hi everybody. Hi, good afternoon. I'm Paul Herriot, and I'd like to wish you all a really warm welcome to Coventry and also moreover to Coventry University today. And welcome also to everyone who's viewing us online. And it's a fantastic day for me today, fantastic for many of us. We're here today for the launch of the National Centre for Accessible Transport. And really lovely finally to be able to say those words out loud. I was looking at my emails, and it's almost a year ago to the day that we and I think 80 others were invited to Canary Wharf by Motability when they launched their grant competition process. And it's been a considerable length of time to get us here today. I'd really like to reflect on how we've got here today and to firstly thank our consortium members who have been so active and have brought so much to the work that we've done so far and the work that we're going to do in the future. So firstly, we have two wonderful charities. We have Designability. Designability, of course, are known for their wonderful user-centered design. We have RIDC, who again are famed for their expertise and engagement with disabled people, and they bring a lot to the project. We have WSP, the large engineering concern, who again bring that industrial perspective. We have Policy Connect, the cross-party think tank, who again have a fantastic role to play. And we have the Connected Places Catapult, real experts in spinning out future transport and transport innovation, again with a focus on user-centered design. So a really strong group of people, and thank you all for your support in getting us here today. And while I'm doing my thank yous, I really must extend my thanks to the wider team at Coventry University. Those people here today will have seen there's a huge team at Coventry University who are working on this new centre. Thank you to every one of you for the efforts that you've put in. And a personal note of thanks to Carl Perrin. Professor Carl Perrin is the director of the institute in which we work. Carl not only tolerates me, but he actively encourages me to do this work. So Carl, thank you very much for that. And Carl actually is representative of the senior leadership that we have here at the university. And we'll hear from Nick later. The values of the university and the ethos of what we're doing in this work are really closely related, and we'll hear a little bit about that from Nick later. So thank you to everyone in the university for supporting this. So why are we here? That's a question to ask, isn't it? You know, with that wonderful work that Motability has done has shown the 38% gap, the accessibility gap as we call it. So we know that disabled people take 38% fewer journeys than non-disabled people. And of course that may be for many reasons, but for any individual, transport is at the heart of what we do. And transport opens those doors and gives us access to healthcare, to education, to employment, and to a full and active social life. So it's of tremendous importance that we have transport that's accessible to all and is fair and provides disabled people with a way of doing all those activities. So there is a need, very much a need for the centre, and I think what is frustrating when we talk about that 38% gap, that's a gap that's been in place for quite a long time. So it really needs addressing now, and perhaps a fresh take on some of the research. So we can talk a little bit, we've talked a little bit about the consortium, and we've talked a little bit about the need for accessible transport. You can ask me, so what are we going to do? What are we going to do, Paul? And I'll look at you and say, I don't know yet. So that's a difficult one, but what I do want to say is, okay, we're a university and everything we do is underpinned by robust scientific academic research with impact. That's what we do here at Coventry University. But in this initiative, we are going to be led by disabled people. And that is a very important message to get across. So we are going to engage with disabled people who are going to set our research agenda, and we are going to work with disabled people to co-create solutions to the problems that are identified. And that philosophy is key to what we're doing. And even the name of the centre that you're seeing today has been developed in conjunction with a panel of disabled people. So we're really keen to be led by disabled people in all the activities that we do. And in fact, that builds upon the work that we do at the centre here. So for those in the room, we have this lovely facility at the university. We've had a lot of investment in the university in recent years as we transition from a teaching university to a research-led university. So tremendous investment. We have a studio here that is the equal or better to what we see in industry. So we have a fantastic environment here, tremendous tools, and we employ user-centered design here. That's our expertise. We have world-class people in user-centered design working within this centre. And what we have found is that it is critical to put users at the heart of the design and engineering process. So if we work with the end user from day one and understand their needs and wants and abilities, and then work with them to co-create solutions, then we'll have successful outcomes. And that may be for an aircraft interior, or a car, or a train carriage, or for an airport. So it works in every way. And we know that works, and that's the philosophy we want to employ. So what's happening in the transport world? We're at a stage where there's a paradigm shift in technology. We're at a fantastic time. So many of us will know about electrification of cars. It's something that's been worked on at the university here, and in fact we're a step ahead because we have hydrogen vehicles and hydrogen storage here that we've been working on for many years. So we have new technology, we have connected, automated vehicles that we're working on. And again, those of you who are here in the studio will have had the opportunity to see our Driver in the Loop driving simulator, a world-class facility where we undertake research into future automated vehicles. So wow, so where are we getting to? I need to recap. So we've got a wonderful funder who's given us a lot of money over a long period of time. We've got a great team with great people, with great experience and a passion for what we're doing. We have tremendous facilities. We have a great process of putting people, disabled people, at the heart of what we do. And we have new technology that is going to enable many solutions in the future to enable this accessibility gap to close. So today I'm really pleased to welcome you all, and with optimism to look forward to all the good work that we're going to do. We will not be successful unless we embrace everyone and we get your help, and that's a call today to ask everyone in the room today and everyone online and everyone in the wider community to help us and guide us in the work that we're going to do to ensure that we are successful in the future. So thank you again from me, and I'm going to hand over to Stephanie and my team to talk a little bit about her experiences. Thank you very much.
Hi everyone. Don't worry, they didn't make me stand. I chose to stand, so you can forgive them for that. So I just want to say thank you first and foremost to everyone who organised this launch event for this amazing centre, and it's amazing to be a part of it, and even more so to be here speaking to you about it. So yeah, my name's Stephanie. I'm one of the postgraduate researchers here at the National Centre for Accessible Transport, and so my focus within that is on, yes, disabled people, more specifically people with reduced mobility. So people like myself, for them it may be a bit more difficult getting around from A to B. So not just people with reduced mobility, but their experiences in rail and sort of rail transport. My experience here has been very interesting because I actually need to use rail transport very extensively to get here, because I'm actually from Glasgow, so well, a town just outside of Glasgow. So that's been very informative, and I'll probably talk about that later. But I have spina bifida, and so I also have a background in psychology research, and I've been working with disabled students in higher education for the past 9 years, so I'm bringing that. But what I'm bringing more than anything really is that lived experience of having a lifelong mobility issue that's also changed over time, and so the way that I've had to navigate the world has changed over time too. What I will say is that I consider myself someone who's I've never felt like I could take my independence for granted, and it's something that's very important to me, but it also comes with a lot of challenges. So, for example, if I could use the example of rail travel, and this is, something that's been echoed by so many disabled people as well, is that we have things like, for example, a sense of urgency. So you go to a train station at rush hour and you're trying to get somewhere, maybe you're a little bit slower, and so is everyone else, but they might be a bit faster. And, we deal with the human element as well. That people are just trying to get from A to B, and they might not be thinking about you, and that's okay, but there can be sort of a feeling of overwhelm from that, and I've certainly felt that myself, and that's something that's spoken about quite a lot by disabled people, is that feeling of overwhelm in certain situations. And so when, yesterday, for example, I was travelling here, and I got to Edinburgh and my train to Coventry was cancelled. So it added an extra couple of hours. So there's that thing of disruption as well, it can lead to a lot more energy expenditure because you've planned your journey, and now you have to rethink and pace up and down platforms trying to figure out where you're going. I went to a city I'd never been to yesterday because of that. So, it's all valuable experience for me, but for most people, that's quite challenging. And I always think what's a challenge for me might be a complete barrier to someone else. What's a challenge to me today might on another day be a complete barrier. And so there is there's a real importance to understand that, because I think as well there's a real misunderstanding in research and in policy about the importance sometimes of public transport. I think there's assumption that it serves a very specific purpose for disabled people, and it does serve the purpose to get people to hospital, to school, to work, and to all these sort of things, and that's so important, as Paul mentioned. But disabled people also use it for seeing their friends, seeing their family, for hobbies, leisure, travel for the sake of travel. You know, I live in Scotland, so there's so much in my doorstep, and it should be accessible to me to just say, I'm going to be completely spontaneous today and go somewhere that I want to go. And those are the things that really help to improve things like social inclusion and to harbour a sense of self-esteem. And for me, my emphasis in my research is how can public transport really help to improve quality of life for people. And these are some of the things that I believe, because these are the things that the sort of non-essential, so to speak, things. These are the other things that improve quality of life for everyone, including disabled people. So Paul mentioned that 38% accessibility gap, and to me, that's also, you know, that 38% fewer trips for disabled people compared to non-disabled people. To me, that's also an opportunity gap, the opportunity to experience things in life that really enrich our life experience. And so that's where this centre comes in, because there's a feeling of real empathy here for everyone involved. Empathy for disabled people, because the work is being led by disabled people. And so we have, you know, for myself at least, I've literally walked in those shoes, you know. I've been in those situations, and I understand the importance of having that kind of access. And so I think between myself and the other researchers on this project, there's a sense of getting a sort of holistic view of what accessible transport could look like, because we're all coming from our own very unique personal lived experiences, and therefore our focus of the research, the sort of demographic of disabled people that we're working with, is very different as well, or maybe different, as well as the mode of transport that we're all focusing on. So over time, I think that's just going to develop even more, and just to get a real rounded view of how we can support disabled people through public transport now, through transport, in my case, public transport. So it's kind of early stages for me. I started here in September, so it's an interesting time to be doing this, though, for me personally. As I said, I'm from Glasgow. In Glasgow, we have very interesting things about the transport system. We have the Glasgow subway, we've got the tram system in Edinburgh. At the moment, Edinburgh are also, you know, they are reforming and rethinking their transport system. And as a part of that, they're also looking at and reviewing how they interact with disabled members of the community, and how they're included in discussions and policy and decision making. So it's an interesting time to be doing this, and honestly, I just feel like I can't actually describe how important this work is, and the honour that I feel to be a part of it, and also the excitement to just see it grow. So yeah, so thank you so much, and I'm so happy to speak to anyone at the end as well, if anyone wants to come and speak to me and ask any questions.
Well, thank you so much, Stephanie. It's really good to hear that you had a glass half full approach when you thought about your train journey yesterday, and you thought how useful it would be for your research rather than getting frustrated by the delay. I'm Rachel from Motability, really pleased to be invited to say a few words today about the background and why Motability is funding the centre. I think what Stephanie has shared illustrates why this agenda is just so important. She's put it much better than I could. When we think about disabled people being unable to make the journeys that they want to, whether that has an impact on employment, education, social connection, well-being, all of those outcomes are so important. And when we started in 2020 at Motability to kind of explore and understand this agenda in more depth, those were the kind of things that we heard from disabled people were so important. And when we looked at the government data sets around transport, and we identified this gap in terms of the journeys that disabled people and non-disabled people are making It's 38%, we've heard that already. It's about 20 journeys a week for a non-disabled person versus about 12 for a disabled person. And when I think about that stat, I think about the trips that are not being made, the social connection, the fun, the activities, or whatever is not happening. And that gap has not changed for over a decade, we found when we looked at the data sets. And that was what really concerned us in this space. And while some progress has been made in terms of making transport more accessible, we want to see that gap closing, and we want to see change on a larger scale to make transport more inclusive. So what we thought in terms of this problem was, what can we do to try to, over time, narrow this gap? And we thought about the problems that were stopping progress in this area. And particularly, we felt there was not enough collaboration across the transport, policy, research and disability sectors. We thought there are transport companies and providers out there who want to do the right thing, but they don't always know what the right thing is. They don't have the solutions. They don't have the ideas for inclusive policy and practice. And there is a need to show them what works. And we also felt that the voices and experiences of disabled people were not being heard in the right places. And that agenda was something that we wanted to try to change. We did extensive scoping and development of this idea over about 18 months at Motability, and we concluded at the end of that process that we would provide funding for a centre for inclusive transport, which would aim to address some of those challenges and issues. We established a competition process, as Paul said, starting about this time last year. We imagined a centre that would run independently of the charity. And we're just so pleased, I think, to be here today with members of the new consortium at the very start of that journey. I think when making the decision to provide funding in this area, an important factor for us was to transform the sector's understanding of disabled people's experiences of transport and highlight the issues and opportunities that were there. And so it's really important for us that the National Centre for Accessible Transport will be able to do that we have a consortium approach that can build those new connections. And I think we've seen that even in the competition process. It's great to see so many people here today who have helped us with that in various ways along the way. I hope the process itself, regardless of the outcome, has sparked some new conversations and connections across sectors. I think the other thing that's been incredibly important for us is putting the experience of disabled people first throughout this, and it's really encouraging and positive to hear what Paul has said today about the way the centre will work and to prioritise lived experience and voice. So we're really excited to be here today. It's felt like a long journey already, although I know this is just the beginning. It's great to have everybody here, and we look forward to seeing the National Centre for Accessible Transport grow and flourish. I think we've got a new team here with a wealth of different kinds of experience around user engagement, around human-centred design, advocacy, the commercialisation and development of new ideas. There are a really big set of complex problems here, and I'm really pleased that we have a team that is equipped to tackle them. So that's all I wanted to say. I'll hand over to Nick Sale, who is the chair of the Board of Governors at Coventry University. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rachel. I'm truly humbled, actually, being here and seeing such a diverse audience who've all braved the UK transport infrastructure in some form or another. And I guess that perhaps when we meet in 5 years' time, everybody can actually recount positive stories of how the challenges have improved, and perhaps they can point to how this centre has provided an impact. As Rachel said, I'm chair of the Board of Governors, and everything that we do at Coventry University is driven by our mission of creating better futures. Our entire research agenda is challenge-led, thanks in no small part to Richard Dashwood, who was hiding over there somewhere. But and certainly it's something that the Board of Governors embrace and are delighted to review on a regular basis. Many of the activities that the institution is undertaking are having real impact on the many global challenges that society and the world in general is facing. That mission of creating better futures absolutely underpins our determination to make an impact, and it's very much at the heart of what we're about at Coventry University. The Board of Governors are constantly reviewing the activity of the institution through this lens. Are we making life better? Do the students benefit? Does society benefit? And does it align with our strategy? I want to say a little bit about the town we're in at the moment, because there are very few towns, I think, in the country that have such close alignment with the concept of transport. It's actually at the heart of the transport industry in the UK. It's, of course, the home of the bicycle. It's the centre of the automotive industry in the UK, and it's a leading centre for rail, aerospace, taxis, and bus development. And Coventry University, at Coventry University, transport is central to our research and innovation activity, so ably led by the National Transport Design Centre, which is headquartered in this facility, and I can add no more than Paul has already touched on. So I'm delighted to represent the leadership of Coventry University Group at the inauguration of the National Centre for Accessible Transport. I would struggle to find an activity that aligns more closely with our ambitions and our mission. And additionally, our values which include collaboration and innovation, both of which are going to be so ably exhibited in this centre. I have no doubt that this represents the start of a significant relationship between all the parties in the consortium, and I and my fellow governors will follow the developments with interest. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. So we're nearing the end of our formal launch this afternoon. Just a couple more things. So thank you again to the consortium partners. We look forward to working closely with you all and to delivering this fantastic project. And we also have a quick video that we'd like to show you from someone who couldn't be here today but is sending their support.
Hi, it's Tanya Gray-Thompson. I'm really sorry I can't join you at the launch today, but I wanted to wish everyone the best for this really important endeavour. Now, in my lifetime, there have been some positive change about inclusive transport, but it has not gone far enough. And I thought by now
So once again, thank you to our partners. And finally, we just pop up a slide with some contact details, so particularly for people who are not in the room today, who are watching online. If you would like to contact us and be part of what we're doing, we really welcome your input. That's great. Thank you very much.